All right, welcome back to Niners Nightly. Larry Krueger with you. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day, and we're going to look ahead to the Buccaneers coming up this weekend. That is going to be a showdown. The Niners are 4-1. The Bucs are 4-1. They get together out in Tampa on Sunday, and we're going to get out there right now. Ira Kaufman is the Pro Football Hall of Fame rep for the Tampa Bay area. He's a Buccaneers and NFL columnist as well. JoeBucksFan.com. We've had him on the show in the past. He's fantastic, and he's with us again on the UMA guest line to chop it up and talk all things Bucs. Ira, how are you?
Doing well, Larry. Glad to be on. These are the cardiac Buccaneers, Larry. And, look, the 49ers have done a nice job with their close wins, no question about it, including last week. But, Larry, 4 wins by a total of 9 points, and all come from behinds in the last minute. Baker Mayfield, Larry, right now, 5 weeks in, he's the most valuable player in football right now.
He is coming off of a game where he completed, 88% of his passes? I mean, Ira, this guy was given up for dead by multiple franchises. He was the former first pick in the draft. He was great at Oklahoma. And then he's bounced around. I mean, and he's gotten some terrible injuries along the way. But now he's healthy. He's in Tampa, in an offense that he's obviously thriving in. And, whether he's the MVP or not, Baker is absolutely hot as fish grease coming into this thing. Did you see this for him when Tampa first got him, or are you surprised by this?
Well, I mean, anybody who says they're not surprised, Larry, they're lying. I mean, the Bucs got him off the scrap heap. Nobody else wanted him, Larry. They could have signed him. They got him for a cheap contract. They just extended him for 26. They're going to have to pay him down the line, Larry. Big money because he's still underpaid. Look, everybody knew he had talent. He won the Heisman. The first overall pick in the draft. I believe his second year in Cleveland, Larry, they won 11 games with Baker Mayfield. They went into Pittsburgh in a playoff game. He scored more than 40 points and then played the Chiefs tough, in the divisional round. He had the talent, but it's the latest example. Larry, sometimes you just got to get with the right coaching staff, the right players, the right environment. Everybody in Tampa loves this guy. He's taken over the city. Mayfield jerseys everywhere. You're going to see him on Sunday against the Niners, and everybody on this team believes in this guy. If the game's close, they're going to find a way to win it.
He's been amazing. And what's really amazing is that he's doing it largely without his guys, right? I mean, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin were out. Godwin's now back. But it's the emergence of this Ohio State rookie, Emeka Egbuka, who's just absolutely amazing. And then let's be honest, Baker is also making these other guys look good. Sterling Shepard, Ryan Miller, Tez Johnson, Cade Otton. Now he's got Godwin back in the lineup. But talk to us a little bit about Egbuka, because we don't see rookie receivers step into the NFL and produce often. In fact, it's pretty rare. And this guy's got 5 touchdowns already and looks amazing.
Larry, the Bucs had the 19th pick in the draft. Most people thought they were going for defense, maybe a pass rusher. Pass rush hasn't been great. That's why Bowles blitzes so much, because he can't get there with 4 guys. Now, they did sign Hassan Reddick in the offseason as a free agent. Larry, he hasn't done much. So most people thought they were going to take a defensive player, a pass rusher or a defensive back. There were guys out there. And instead, they took a wide receiver. Now, part of it was Godwin was coming off a bad injury, dislocated ankle, but they had Mike Evans, and they had some other guys. We thought it was a luxury pick. And Larry, 4 months later, this guy's, the offensive rookie of the year. He is smooth, really, really smooth. He took no time. He did it week 1 in Atlanta, the winning catch, 2 touchdowns, and he hasn't stopped since. And Mayfield's got all the faith in the world, and Mike Evans is coming back in a couple of weeks. And when he does, Larry, and you look at the Bucs' last 6 weeks, it's a very, very favorable schedule for the Bucs. I wouldn't be shocked, Larry, if they end up possibly fighting for the number 1 seed in the conference. You look at those last 6 games, they get Evans back with Egbuka. Godwin will be better by then. And Mayfield's 30 years old. He's not slowing down. He's in the prime. This is a very dangerous team right now.
No doubt. They can score points. I really think their general manager is one of the real underrated GMs in the game. Jason Licht, Look at this draft. Emeka Egbuka in the first round. The Notre Dame corner, Benjamin Morrison, in the second round. Morrison is a first-round talent who just fell to the second round. Jacob Parrish from K-State, the corner, has been fantastic in the third round. David Walker is a nice edge rusher. He's out for the year, but I think there's potential there. But then the next two guys, Elijah Roberts from SMU has been a beast, and Tez Johnson, I guarantee you the Niner corners are going to have a difficult time staying within 5 yards of Tez Johnson. So what do you think of the GM, and what do you think of this overall draft class?
Well, you're right about Jason Licht, Larry. Now, a little history lesson for your listeners. His first 5 or 6 years, he started in 2014. And his first pick was Mike Evans, who I think is going to end up with a gold jacket. So that was his very first pick, 7th pick in that draft. And his first 5 years, Larry, the Bucs were lousy, and he didn't draft well. A lot of mistakes, O.J. Howard, Vernon Hargraves, guys who just didn't make it, drummed out of the league quickly. And, full disclosure, Larry, I wrote a column after the 2018 season when they were getting rid of Dirk Cutter. I said they should dismiss Jason Licht, get rid of him, bring in somebody new. He's never forgotten it, Larry. I mean, this guy keeps me sweet. And he reminds me of it every other week when I see him. But he's, Larry, sometimes you learn from your mistakes. And when you drill down and figure out what's going on in Tampa, and people don't think character counts and it's all about talent. Well, yeah, talent's number one. But he's built a culture here. And the mistakes he's made, he says, are from the neck up on these guys. They don't love football. And he's changed his philosophy, told his scouts what he wants. And they're all high character guys. And Larry, when you play these one-score games, if you're playing for the guy next to you, that matters. And he's drafted tremendously. I mean, Tristan Wirfs, there were like 5 great offensive linemen in that draft. Well, he got Wirfs. He was the last guy, and he got him. And the guy's fantastic. Chris Godwin, great pick. And there's just one after the other. Antoine Winfield, who blitzed Darnold on the critical interception by Levante David. So
Kalijah Cansey's a hell of a player.
Kansey, who's hurt. Yeah. So, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, but, they got some real depth on this team, and that's a credit to the general manager.
Yeah. Yaya Diaby. I mean, he's hit. This guy's hit on a bunch of guys, and he's hit on some free agents.
Vita Vea. Yep.
Yeah, Vita Vea. Vita Vea is just a huge wide body. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this offense for a second. They can really score points. Mayfield's obviously a monster. They lost Gadecki, right? The right tackle.
He's really good. He's really good. Yep.
Yeah, and they lost him. Charlie Heck, whose daddy was Andy Heck, I believe.
Yeah.
Who stepped, he was with the Niners actually not that long ago. I think last year Charlie Heck might have been with the Niners, but he's now the starting right tackle. Bucky Irving's a great running back, but he's hurt, so they're going to lean on Rashad White and Sean Tucker and maybe the rookie Williams from LSU. What's this offense look like without Bucky? I mean, obviously Bucky's a tremendous back, but how are they different without him?
It's amazing what they're doing. I think they're averaging 27 points, Larry. It's a big number. Last year was 29. They got a new coordinator. Now, Liam Cohn went to Jacksonville.
Right.
I mean, that guy's a really good play caller, Liam Cohn. And look what he's doing with the Jets. He's off to a heck of a start. And, they scored 31 points on the Chiefs yesterday. And, Trevor Lawrence looks like he's coming along very nicely under Liam Cohn. So, now they got Josh Grizzard. They hired the guy from within on the coordinator. And by the way, Larry, you mentioned Gadecki, the right tackle, who's really good, like a notch below Tristan Wirfs. The right guard's out for the season, Cody Malk. So they got some guy named Haggard playing over there. They got Andy Heck on the right tackle. They got 2 new starters on the offensive line, and that's where continuity is paramount. Bucky Irving's not going to play this week. Rashad White is not Bucky Irving. He's not. Bucky Irving can rip off a 30-yard run. He caught a 70-yard touchdown pass. You don't see that from a running back very often. White can't do that, but he's a really good receiver out of the backfield. And he's an adequate replacement. But, there's a drop-off there. There's no question about it. This offense is going great guns, especially when the game's close and Mayfield's got to get it done. I'll give you an example, Larry. Last week's the perfect example. Seattle just drove 99 yards for the go-ahead score. That's got to take a lot out of a team, a lot. And, there's 3 minutes left, and there goes Mayfield. Right, 5 plays, 70 yards. Boom, boom, boom. The part about Mayfield that I didn't know about, Larry, because I didn't see the Browns play a lot, or the Panthers, he's a very effective scrambler. He's not Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, but he's very effective. And those 3rd and 7 runs for first downs, that's like a dagger to the defense. They got everybody covered, and all of a sudden the guy's, getting 8 yards. And he don't look for the sidelines, Larry. He'll take on Fred Warner, at the 40-yard line, and he's not looking to go down or go to the sidelines. And that's very infectious for this team. So he sets the tone for this offense, and it's a damn good offense.
It really is. And not only that, if you look at Baker's game log, every week he's throwing for more yardage. Week 1 against Atlanta, he threw for 167. Week 2 against Houston, 215. Week 3 against the Jets, who came from behind in the fourth quarter and made it close, 233. Against Philly, 289. And then this last week against Seattle, now granted, it was Seattle with no DeMarcus Lawrence, no Devin Witherspoon, no Julian Love, but so what? It's still a pretty good defense on the road. 379 and completed 87.9% of his passes. The other thing that's standing out, he's not turning the ball over. 10 touchdowns, only 1 pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's really been good. You're right. I mean, Mayfield is right there on the list of guys who could be the MVP of the league. It's amazing how much he's taken off in this offense. It really is.
And Larry, they needed every one of those completions because their defense fell apart in the second half. Seattle scored 5 straight touchdowns at one point, 5 drives, 5 touchdowns, 300 yards in the second half, 28 points in the second half. There's some issues, Larry, even amid a 4-1 start. There are some issues. Special teams have been very up and down. They've had 2 punts blocked, 1 field goal blocked. That's a problem. Kickoff return coverage was terrible last week. And Larry, they're still not getting there with that 4-man pass rush. Reddick has done very little, very little. He's looking for a big paycheck next year as a free agent. And so far, he hasn't done enough to warrant it. I don't even think he'll be back with the Bucs next year unless he picks it up. So, I'm not sure about this pass rush against the 49ers unless Bowles dials up a lot of blitzes, which he's known for.
All right, a little interruption, but we will take a look at our Sleeper lineup. This 49er football season, all season long on the Krueger Show, is presented by Sleeper, the fastest-growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy, where you choose 2 to 8 players, pregame or live, and pick more or less on their stats projections. If you're new to it, use promo code Larry. You're going to get 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. The link's right there in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, let's look at the Thursday nighter. Eagles take on the Giants at MetLife. Let's look at Dallas Goedert. I think Goddard's going to have an impact in this game. Let's go Dallas Goedert over the receptions. I think he gets at least 4 receptions, more than 3.5 receptions for Dallas Goedert. All right, let's go to Jackson Dart. Is Dart on the board? I think Dart for sure throws an interception in this game. There'll be a lot of pressure on Dart, and I like Dart. Where is Dart? There it is. Yeah, let's go with the interception. Half an interception. He'll go over more than that. So he's going to throw a pick. Let's go with the Jalen Hurts freebie. They're giving us a half yard. Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that for sure. Wan'Dale Robinson. What's Wan'Dale looking like? I like him over in yards. It's 45.5 yards, receiving yards. So there we go. There we go. I could go Cam Scattaboo anytime touchdown, but let's go with this. Let's just go with this. All right. So we're going to bet $5 to win $19.30. There you go. So we need Dallas Goedert with at least 4 receptions. Jackson Dart's got to throw a pick. Wan'Dale Robinson's got to have 46 receiving yards, and Jalen Hurts has just got to play basically a half a passing yard. And if we win $19.30. Big thanks to Sleeper. Remember, use code Larry for 100% deposit match up to $100. Links right in the description. Terms apply. He helps support the show and gets you rolling on the #1 sports app. We've been killing it. We've been winning every week. It's a ton of fun. Thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. And once again, get a 100% match up to $100. Use that code Larry, Larry, simple enough. And once again, thanks to Sleeper for sponsoring the Krug Show. It should be interesting. I mean, I don't know if the Niners can pressure Mayfield without Nick Bosa. And looking at these numbers from last week against Seattle, and I watched a good chunk of that game.
And Seattle's got a good defense, right, Larry? They got
Seattle's
a pretty
good defense, but I mean, Seattle's offensive line's not great, and Tampa had 0 sacks and only 2 hits on the quarterback all day.
Yeah.
So I that kind of speaks to what you just said about the struggles up front. How's Logan Hall was a first-round pick? What's he doing up front?
He's got a little bit better, but he hasn't lived up to his draft status. He's okay, just okay. Larry, I think one edge for the 49ers, and it might be telling, is McCaffrey, out in the flat. The Bucs have had some problems. First game in Atlanta, Bijan Robinson, 3 minutes into the game, goes out to the right flat. There's nobody near him. The guy runs 50 yards for a touchdown or for a reception. Nobody catches and runs better than McCaffrey on those flare passes. I think that's going to be a big, big part of the 49er offense. And we'll see if Lavonte David, he's got some wear and tear. He's still good, but he's not the player he was when he was 27. Somebody's got to cover McCaffrey in the flat. And, that's a big part of the Niner offense.
It's funny. Darnold threw Lavonte an interception at the end of the game last week was the difference in the game. But, you mentioned David. It seemed like it wasn't that long ago that it was Lavonte David and Devin White and the Bucs winning the Super Bowl, and what an incredible linebacking core. Now Devin White's in Vegas and David's older. Larry Foote's the defensive coordinator. You mentioned the injuries. I mean, Kalijah Cansey is a huge, huge loss up front for sure. What does Todd Bowles' defense look like? Are they a blitz-heavy defense? Exactly how would you describe Bowles' defense this year?
Well, since Bowles' arrival in 2019, which was when Bruce Arians came to town, Larry, they've been the top 5 blitzing team in the league every year. Part of it is, he didn't have that much confidence in the 4-man rush, but at that point, they had guys like Shaq Barrett, and Jason Pierre-Paul, and now they don't have guys like that. Like I said, Reddick hasn't done much, Larry. Hall's not much of a pass rusher. Diaby's okay. So, they're blitz heavy. And they got a young secondary that has some talent. There's no question about it. You mentioned Jacob Parrish. Larry's always around the ball. He's always around the ball, this kid. 3rd-round pick. And Morrison was coming on. He looked pretty good against the Jets and the Eagles. And then he gets a hamstring injury, and now he's out. So, they've gotten, makeshift defense right now. But this is a very competitive game. I see it as a pick'em game. I think the Bucs are slight favorites. But the Niners are coming in. I saw John Lynch on the sidelines, Larry, at the end of that game. He was a happy man, and I'm hoping I get to see him this weekend.
Well, I'm sure he's feeling good right now, though I'm also sure that he's probably taking lots of phone calls on edge rushers. Do you think Jason Licht is going to try to add to that front 7? Because these guys could be competing not just on Sunday, they could be competing for trade targets here in the next 3-4 weeks.
That's a great point, Larry, because when Jason Licht, meets with the owners, the Glazers, which he does every home game, I think they talk about, what do we need going forward? What do we need in the postseason in January? Because, Larry, rightfully or wrongfully, it's almost a given that the Bucs are going to win the NFC South again. I mean,
yeah.
It's a lousy division. Atlanta's 2-2, but they lost 30-0 to Carolina. I mean, the Bucs don't play games like that. The Philly game could have got out of hand, but it didn't. and they almost tied it up, but before Mayfield threw that pick. So there's no, this team has a lot of fight. And I think Light's looking at it, and unless Reddick really ramps it up in the next few weeks, including Sunday against San Francisco, I think they could very well be in the market for a veteran pass rusher, situational guy, Larry, third down guy, sort of like a Von Miller type from a few years ago, that can make a few plays and help you win a game. I can see the Bucs being very interested in that.
It's going to be real interesting as we get closer to the trade deadline, which comes after week 9. And of course, we're going into week 6. Mentioned Todd Bowles. He's 31-25. They've won 3 straight NFC South titles. They pretty much own that division. He resurrected the career of Baker Mayfield. The Mayfield story is really amazing when you think of the fact, Ira, he's had a new offensive coordinator every year he's been with the Bucs, and he gets better and better and better. And I'll throw it to you. Is this Bucs team? I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but are they the best team in the NFL? Now, I know that sounds maybe like hyperbole, but I don't know. I mean, they might be the best team in the NFL.
I think they're a top 5 team right now, Larry. I'm not willing to go that far because look, they're going to Detroit after they play the Niners. They're going to Motown. And I think that's a primetime game. They'll be underdogs. And, Detroit is Detroit. They score a lot of points. I mean, they got weapons, too. They got Jamar Gibbs, and Bucky Irving, to me, is like a mini, he's the second coming to Jamar Gibbs, maybe a notch below, but that's high praise for Bucky Irving. It's a strong team, Larry. It is a strong team. Pass defense is a problem. It's a problem. We'll see what happens on Sunday. I think the Niners are missing parts of their pass offense with Kittle. Nobody knows about Purcell, but that is the weak spot. And part of it is not enough pass rush and too much pressure on the secondary. So, Light's done a fantastic job, Larry. It's not easy to replace Tom Brady. And Baker Mayfield has, walked into that role and accepted it. He's different than Brady. He's more mobile than Brady. But they both have that competitive drive that's it's really sparking this team right now.
A couple more minutes with Ira Kaufman, who joins us from Tampa as we previewed Niners-Bucs. It's amazing when you think about the Bucs. They're one blocked punt away from being undefeated. And this is a team that has lost Tristan Wirfs, Luke Gadecki, Cody Mock, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, Kalijah Kancey. I mean, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of parallels between the 49ers 4-1 start and the Buccaneers 4-1 start. They're both doing it with reclamation quarterbacks. What's your thoughts from watching the Niners from afar? The reclamation of Mac Jones and the 49ers 4-1 start. What do you think, Ira?
I gotta give a lot of credit to Shanahan. I mean, the Niners are very resourceful. Look, they had a down year last year, Larry. I don't have to tell you, and that didn't sit well with Mr. Lynch, who I know very well because it took me 8 years to get him across the finish line in Canton. Eight years in a row, Larry. 8 different speeches. Finally, because John Lynch didn't have the numbers, Larry. He didn't have the numbers that jump out at you. He had 26 interceptions, in a long career. That's not a lot of picks. But finally, Larry, you had to remember that he played in an era where you could intimidate guys. So finally, Lynch got his day. And, of course, his wife was looking at me, side-eyed, Larry, for all those years. Every time I would see her, she'd say, what's going on? Should we get somebody else to make the speech? And I go, stick with me. I'll get it done, Larry. And finally it happened. So, Lynch is a guy that I root for. I think, Larry, at the end of last season, some 49er fans I think they were questioning John Lynch a little bit about his draft picks, about some of his free agents maybe. And here they are at 4-1 with a chance to beat the Bucs on the road and go 5-1. Very resourceful team, the Niners. I hope they don't have a quarterback battle on their hands, Larry, because I think you got to stick with Purdy, who's a little better. Larry, he's better than people think he is. I mean, you can win with this guy. You can win with this guy, and they proved it when they went to the Super Bowl. So two resourceful teams, and I'm looking forward to a good matchup on Sunday.
Ira, I know you have a lot to do with the Hall of Fame, and we've been trying to get Roger Craig in for a number of years. What's it going to take for Roger Craig to get in? I mean, Roger Craig was just, and my argument, I mean, this would be my most compelling argument for why Roger belongs in the Hall of Fame, is that people look at Roger and say, well, he played with Jerry Rice, and that bolstered his numbers. But Ira, I'm here to tell you that playing with Jerry Rice did not bolster his numbers. Playing with Jerry Rice, who's arguably the greatest statistical being the NFL has ever seen, suppressed the numbers of Roger Craig. And Roger's class and easygoing personality made it easy for the Niners to feed Jerry the rock every week. And Roger was just he was good with the W. And he was easy to get along with. And I just really feel like if he hadn't played with Jerry, he would have had greater numbers. If Walsh had not died prematurely, I think Walsh would have spent the last 20 years advocating for Roger, and Walsh had enough clout within the sport where he would have been able to get Roger in there, and he wasn't able to make that plea. And so Roger's still on the outside looking in. But you're a football man. You're a historian of the game. Roger Craig belongs in the Hall of Fame, and he would be in what are these guys? They're all ambassadors for football. Who would be a better ambassador for the NFL than Roger Craig? To me, he just belongs in there. He's the only back on the team of the 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s that's not in the Hall of Fame that was part of a team of the decade. He was a Pro Bowler at fullback. He was a Pro Bowler at halfback. He was the first 1,000. He was the best 49er in arguably the best 49er team in '84 in the Super Bowl against Marino and the Dolphins. It was Roger who scored 3 touchdowns in that game. The MVP went to Joe, but Roger was the best player on the field. He's not a guy to toot his own horn. He's not going to Drew Pearson it and start screaming at everybody. He's just too classy for that. But I need to see this guy in there. What's it going to take?
He's a very compelling candidate, Larry. They won a couple of Super Bowls before Jerry Rice ever became a 49er. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
And you're right. He was the driving force for the '84 team, which is one of the great teams. He also was tremendous. I think it was '88 or '89. I can't remember which one. But one of those 2 years, he was the
88. 88. He was the offensive player of the year in the NFL.
That's right. And the '89 49ers, I think they might even been better than the '84 49ers because
I'm with you on that.
They absolutely destroyed a pretty good Denver team that spent 2 weeks trying to prepare for the Niners, and they hung 55 on them, Larry. Here's one of the problems, Larry. Now, he's a senior candidate. He's not a modern era candidate. The problem is that we thought a couple of years ago that the trustees of the Hall were going to make a spirited effort to get more seniors in. And Larry, now the rules changed a couple of years ago where it seems like it's harder to get seniors in because they changed exactly how many people you're voting on, and you could pick 3 out of 5, which includes a coaching candidate and a contributor candidate. So it's different, and it's hard to get a senior in. Larry, there's a list of 60 seniors that are deserving. I mean, a lot. And, Tommy Nobis in Atlanta, he used to be called Mr. Falcon. I mean, the guy made the all-decade team against Butkus and Nitschke in the 60s. He can't get a sniff. So Roger Craig's far from alone in guys that are deserving, but you make a strong point. That combination of Bill Walsh's creativity and his versatile skills, what a perfect match that was for the early 80s. And it continued throughout the decade. If I get a chance to vote for Roger Craig, he's got my vote.
That damn fumble in the 90, in the 90 NFC Championship game, I think is the thing that has.
I hope people aren't holding that against the Larry. That's not fair. That's not fair.
It really isn't. It really isn't. Ira will let you go, but I just ran across this stat. This is an amazing stat. Once again, back to the general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jason Licht. The Bucs currently lead the NFL in homegrown players on their roster. I didn't realize this. 82.5% of the Buccaneers players started their careers in Tampa. I mean, if you say best GM in the game, man, people are going to say Howie Roseman.
Right.
People are going to say Eric DaCosta. People are Les Snead, Brett Veach. I mean,
Right.
there's going to be all kinds of names that are thrown out. Nobody's ever going to say Jason Licht. And he's a regular, normal guy too. Who, from what I hear, he doesn't drive his guys into the ground, and he's very, very popular in the organization with the scouts and the personnel department. But I mean, the job that this guy's done really has to be highlighted. I mean, 82.5% of the players are homegrown. I mean, that's getting it done.
He's got a great team around him too. He's got a guy named Mike Greenberg, sort of the cap specialist. He's really, really good at his job. I wouldn't be shocked if he's a general manager in the next couple of years. He had John Spytek. He's now with the Raiders.
Right.
So, that's what happens when you got good people around you. Now, Larry, you mentioned Devin White a few minutes ago. That's a perfect example of what I was telling you about mistakes from the head up. Now, is it a mistake? Probably not. They won a Super Bowl with Devin White, and he played a big, big role. But then he fell out of favor. He wanted a contract. They wanted to see more out of him, and he went into a funk. And look at him now. I mean, he's no factor. And Light learned from that. He in retrospect, he didn't think this guy loved football. And that's the only guys that Jason Light is interested in. He takes guys off his board for character reasons if he doesn't think they love football. And right now, that policy is working wonders in Tampa.
Oh, I mean, it's genius, because at the end of the day, it's not about do you have the ability to do it. It's about how likely are you that you're going to do it. So if a guy could have incredible 40 time, great. He could lift the entire weight room. But if he doesn't really want to play football, if he's not really into it, if he doesn't really want to be there, it's just not going to work out. So, yeah, I mean, football's hard, man. And it's like, and you got to want it, and you got to live for it. There's the old saying, right? I remember when I was in the Canadian League, the defensive coordinator used to say to me, he's like, man, everybody's looking at their watch. Some people are looking at their watch saying, I got to get to the facility. Some people are here looking at their watch saying they got to get home. You got to have the guys who love the process of pro football. Everybody loves Sunday.
Larry, I'm looking at my watch right now, thinking about lunch. Larry, that's what I'm thinking about.
Exactly. We're all thinking about something. But yeah, you got to have the guys that are dedicated. You got to have guys that are wed to the sport and really want to do it, because it ain't easy. So it sounds like Jason's got everything going in the right direction there. All right, give us a prediction, Ira. What do you think? They put up 38 against Seattle last week. Is that Seattle's defense just being a joke because they were good before the injuries, and Mike McDonald said, oh, my goodness, that was a terrible performance? Or is Tampa just a juggernaut offensively? What do you see as the final score in this game on Sunday?
Well, Larry, let me preface this by saying very proudly that, we make picks on our podcast every week. I'm 5-0, Larry.
Okay.
I'm 5-0. And I picked the Bucs to go to Seattle and win that game by 3 points. I didn't say 38-35, but I got it right. So I'm 5-0. I got a lot on the line, Larry. The Bucs find a way. I'm looking for a 4-point victory, which for the Bucs sounds like a blowout, Larry. A 4-point victory. I'm looking at 24-20 home team, but the Niners are going to be in this one all day long. They're not going away. But the Bucs Mayfield makes one more play, 24-20 Bucs.
24-20 Bucs. Now get ready, because, the Niner fans, you mentioned there's good seats available. I will not be in the house, but something tells me lots of 49er fans will be. The Niners, Ira, have traveled incredibly well. You saw that scene in Los Angeles. Now, granted, that's only 750 miles south. So a lot of people could make that drive or a quick flight. But the Niner fans packed the Superdome against the Saints, and I would imagine if there's good seats available, there's going to be a lot of red in the house on Sunday.
It's going to be tough to beat how many Eagle fans were here a couple of weeks ago, Larry. But the Niners will have a strong contingent on the east side of the field. And just a word to the wise: bring sunscreen, Larry, because that faces the sun all afternoon long, and it's going to be about 84 degrees.
How's the humidity?
Tolerable, Larry, tolerable, and going down.
Yeah. That means not good. Tolerable for you means that we're all going to be sweating our what's off.
That's right.
Ira Kaufman, he's a great follow on X. iKaufman76. He's a Pro Football Hall of Fame representative for the Tampa Bay area, Buccaneers NFL columnist for JoeBucksFan.com. And Ira, always great to rap with you. I ran into Ira on Dog Show, Mad Dog. He does a regular hit with Dog on Wednesdays. And we're huge fans of your work, man. Keep it rolling. Get Roger Craig in that Hall of Fame, Ira, please.
Will do, Larry. Enjoyed it.
Talk to you soon. Ira Kaufman. We got more straight ahead. It's Niners Nightly. Larry Krueger with you. More straight ahead on the Sports Leader.